Hello, my friends. I hope everyone is having a good Thursday. Mats, my Mama, Luna Klopp, Nadja. Nice to see everyone. I hope you've had a good, like I said, a good weekend. And this week is so nice to come here. I said Monday, I was really looking forward to coming to the sit-in, and it's the same today. I've been doing lots of not fun stuff, and then in comparison, coming here is like, yeah, that's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I hope you're also enjoying this. I had some, by the way, I had some fun conversations also with Sri Lanka, and it's so fun. Like, I haven't been there for, my goodness, it's 10 years ago. It's a long time ago I was in Sri Lanka. Or is it 9, 10 or 9, a long time ago. And like, I heard the bird sounds in the background, and I could almost smell the heat. And my mother's there visiting. I could almost smell the heat and the waves, like the feeling of being on the beach. And it made me think, I hope one day I can go to Sri Lanka and actually film the meditation centers I was at. Maybe even do a live stream from one of the meditation centers. I'm not sure if they would actually allow that. Yeah, somehow work it out to actually film and show what it looks like there. There are some incredibly beautiful places, and faces also, of course, but some places are just, yeah, I have fond memories of, there's one place in particular that I think of, which is called Nilambe, which is up in the mountains of Kandy, and there's no real road. Well, there is a road, but it's up a mountain, so you drive a tuk-tuk up, and it's like lots of stones, and it's difficult to get up. And then you get up, and it's like way up on the mountain. There's no electricity or anything. The water comes from the ground, and the showers are like completely like water from the mountain, so it's super cold to take a shower, like really cold, even if it's Sri Lanka. And there's no sound of the road. There's nothing. It's just silence and birds and animals, and there's wild boars running around, small deers, and oh my goodness, there's leeches. The amount of leeches at this place is incredible, but it's just so peaceful and serene, and you walk around, and there's this really nice feeling being up there. And I spent many months, maybe even a year in that place. So I think I have one recording of one of the mornings there. And like I said, there's leeches. If you walk between the meditation center and your kuti, I could get 20 leeches in a matter of a few minutes. The worst I ever had was, I think, 40 leeches at one time. And it was me dumb enough to take a walk on one of the paths. And I remember I looked down, and there were leeches like jumping, like really running towards me, seeing the heat like all over. It's crazy. So lots of leeches, but also a really nice atmosphere. And I wish that we could like have a retreat there, and everyone just comes. Well, yeah, it's expensive to go to Sri Lanka, but maybe one day in the future we could have a retreat meeting somewhere in one of the meditation centers I went to. That would be absolutely incredible. And so there is no electricity, and you sleep in these small kutis. It's just, hey Nicole, very nice to see you. It's just really made for meditating. So it's just a bench, like a concrete slab you sleep on with a thin mattress, and you have water, shared shower in many places, and then you use candles at night. So you walk around with candles. There's like light food, vegetarian. And then in the mornings you wake up, and you wake up to, you would think, bird sound. And there is bird sound, beautiful bird sound in the mornings. Oh my goodness, it's so nice. But unfortunately, they have this really crazy thing that they believe that chants and prayers are holy. So if something is holy and it gives good to people, what do? Well, we want to share that with everyone, right? So they have loudspeakers. And I don't mean like you're thinking a pair of like small loudspeakers. I'm talking huge light speakers, like sound speakers, like absolutely huge speakers, full blast, shouting out, and then the Muslims are shouting their thing, and the Christians are there. It's just like a cacophony of sound in the mountains in the morning. Is so bizarre. But then after a while, that disappears, and the sound settles in, and you hear all the birds. You can listen to the sound, and you recognize the birds that come away, and there's rain on the roof, and then sometimes you'll hear there were lots of bees, and sometimes you would hear the whole bee swarm. So like all the bee like the bee colony, they would just move. They would just, and there was a big black cloud in the sky just like going by. Incredible place. I also happened to meet my fiance there while I was a monk. A bit controversial. I was already on my way home and I decided I was going to stop being a monk. And absolutely nothing happened until we got home, but we did actually meet at a meditation center. And that is a gorgeous place to be. Absolutely beautiful. And I hope that one day I can either film from there, or maybe in the far, far future, I don't see that happening anytime soon, we could even have a retreat in one of those centers. That would be nice. Would anyone come? I mean, if you can, if we like win the lottery, we can just like pool together and buy plane tickets and go there. That would be amazing. But for now, we're here. And I mean, that's also really nice. And we also don't need to have the loudspeaker screaming in our ears. What about you? Do you have any nice centers or any nice places you like to go and meditate where you find that it's, you know, meditation is this interesting thing in that you can do it anywhere. You don't need a place to meditate. You can just sit wherever you want to be. Like you can sit in a train station, you can sit at home, you can sit in a temple, you can sit in a prison. It doesn't matter. You can meditate anywhere. Some places, though, are just inherently easier to meditate at. And it's like different for everyone. Even at your home, if you look into it, there will be some places where you're just more comfortable to sit and where it just feels easier to meditate. Many people actually make a small corner. They might have some, I mean, I am not at all into statues and icons and stuff like that, but a lot of people put up pictures of Amma or the Buddha or Jesus or Mother Mary, whatever they want to feel good feelings towards, and I wholeheartedly support that, even though I don't personally do that. Then you can have this little cozy space where you get a nice feeling and you know, okay, when I sit down here, it is time to meditate. I actually have thought about putting a Buddha statue or something behind me so that there would be some kind of, there's a nice feel. I mean, as I said, I don't really consider myself Buddhist, even though I practice many of the Buddhist values, which in my opinion is what Buddhism is. It's not a religion. Everything that happened before life, after life, all of the other philosophy stuff is kind of irrelevant, and it changes depending on what tradition of Buddhism you have. But the core fundamentals of discovering yourself is something I believe strongly in, and also being kind to others and behaving in such a way that you bring more peacefulness and joy to the world than you do harm and chaos. Oh, everyone's really quiet today. Maybe no one has a place that you'd like to meditate at. I don't know. Or maybe you're sitting already meditating and just think that I'm babbling on. Incense is also one of those things that is very interesting. I don't know if you've ever tried incense, but it's these, if you don't know what it is, it's these sticks with different things that smell when you burn them. Like it can be anything, sandalwood or something. And a lot of people, especially when they start out, believe, okay, I need to make the perfect sense to cleanse the space, and they walk around and do things. And the thing about that, I really believe that if you believe this, if you really feel like by doing this ritual and walking around and cleaning the space, you will feel better, because you are allowing yourself to now accept that this is a nice place. Now I've done this cleansing, and now it is nice to sit here. So that's a way that you can actually make the space feel better for you. I see Nicole is saying, I missed the start. Where was your meditation spot you described? That was in Nilambi in Sri Lanka, way up on a mountain in Sri Lanka, like really high up. And you'd have to take a bus to Kandy, and the buses in Sri Lanka are incredible. That's like an experience of itself. And then you'd have to take a smaller tuk-tuk up to the place and then up the hill. That wasn't the most remote place I went to. There was one place in Penang in Malaysia that I went to, which, first of all, you have to get to Malaysia, and then I had a bus route to Penang. From Penang, I can't remember, I think someone picked me up and drove to a mountain, and this was really, like, we're talking, like, they actually have a road you can drive up to Nilambi, but it's not really a road, it's more like a path. This was a walking path in a jungle, up a steep hill, and it was so far up that you couldn't really, well, you could walk, of course, but it would be heavy with your to walk there and difficult. So you rode on the back of a motorcycle, and it was, I can't actually remember. I don't know if it was like a 20-minute ride a motorcycle up a mountain. It was an experience, and you sat on the back, and people would drive you up, and that was also an absolutely incredible place. What a some of these places, it's like it's difficult to describe. Just the space, the way it feels when people have been meditating there for decades or maybe hundreds of years in certain places. Just this calmness, and most of the time they will put these centers at a place where it is calm, even though of course the environment change. Nicole says Sri Lanka. Yeah, it is very nice. Nadia, where have you had your best meditation experiences? That's a more nuanced question that you might think, because when you say best meditation experience, what does that mean? Most people consider best to be the most enjoyable, maybe, or most fun. I guess enjoyable. If I say best, I mean the one that has, for me, the best would mean the one that I felt took away the most of the sense of self, or that made the biggest shift in my practice. And yeah, that's pretty clear where that is. I mean, I had some insane experiences, like all over the world. It's not like one place in particular. I had some pretty incredible experience on airplanes and trains. Like, yeah, one of the most really hard, non-centric experiences I have, where the world just appeared as like sparkling, and it was just peacefulness, and the wonder and the wonder and beauty of the world is completely just everywhere in a way that it's rare that I see it that strong. That was actually on a train ride, but it didn't probably come from the train. It probably came because I had been in an intensive retreat for a long time before that, and then after. Actually, it was not long. It was just a 10-day retreat. After 10-day retreat, and then I went out into the world, and I was very clear. I saw and experienced all these things, and then I experienced it. But what I would call the best, most memorable, there's so many weird things that happen, Nadja. Good things and bad, but the what I would call the best would be when I attained what they call stream entry, which is the first pass in the Theravadan tradition of enlightenment. This sounds much more than it actually is, so don't make this into a big thing. But in that tradition, there is a cycle you complete, and then something happens. And for me, it was up in Ella with a famous Sri Lankan meditation teacher, a monk, and I had been meditating there for, I don't remember, it was quite a long time, and I was in the last phase. They call it equanimity, where everything's just peaceful, calm. The idea of needing to do anything is just like you just joy and happiness, and what I call non-centricness is really a big part of your world. That's how you're walking around. And I remember I was sitting, and I was calm, and I was just equanimous, like that. I wouldn't say blissed, because bliss is like wow, like no, this is just peacefulness, stillness, and I was completely content. And I was sitting, and I kind of almost dozed off, and then went, and I could feel like someone had, imagine if you have a fire hose that is under extremely high pressure, like really, really high, wanting to burst out. And then but you don't really feel it, because it's straightened itself up, so it's just straight. And then you pop the cork, and it goes, and it just go, and I sat, and I went dump, and I could hear my ears go, like this really loud sound. My head twisted like this. I started shaking, sitting like this. My eyes, like really weird. This has only happened this time that I can remember. Yeah, probably. My eyes went, my eyelids went like this. If someone would have seen me, like, oh my goodness, he's possessed by the devil. Head back, eyes went, and I could feel most people would describe energy, just like complete explosions, like blowing out of my head, and my head back fluttering like this. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna die. There was a very real feeling of, oh, I'm gonna die. I'm disappearing. It was completely calm, no wonder at all. And I just said shh like this, and I cannot really remember how long that was and how long it lasted, but it was, yeah, probably a few minutes that I sat like that. And then that continued, it calmed down, it was like for a while. And then for 2 days I had an insane headache, like my mind felt like it had just like been reorganized. There was a lot of pressure and migraines, and it felt like the mind was, from being completely calm, just now making all these, okay, this sounds a bit more than it is maybe, but it felt like it was making connections. It was as if though my perspective was, I am here, the camera lens is there. Like that had kind of been broken somehow. Now it was more that the distance between me and the camera had permanently been changed. There's a lot of shifts that happen that are kind of soft, and then they go back and soft, and that's what mostly happens. Even if it's a strong one, you will have a shift and then it kind of goes back. Here, this was more of a gradual, the permanent shift that is usually not like this, and this was quite not the norm for how this process normally happened. But I discussed this with the monk who was there, and it was pretty clear that it would have been what happened, even though that thing he didn't believe was important. Yeah, so that was probably the best meditation experience I've had, in the sense that it was the thing that after that I simply could not stop meditating. After that I never had to try. Then that's where the if you ever see me shake, that's like where that comes from. That's calmed down so much. This was 2010, so it's 15 years ago. But that's really when everything, like the shit hit the fan, if you say that, kind of. So yeah, I would say that's by far the most important thing. There's other things that were also really important, but yeah, it was a pretty crazy experience. Let's see, what else? Mats. I rode my motorcycle yesterday for the first time this season. Came back as an ice cube. Oh, I used to ride a motorcycle. That's amazing, Mats. But I went for it again today. It's just so much fun. I'd love to tour through Himalayas with a bike. That would be cool. That would be an experience. I used to dream of something like that. You know, I had another dream, Mats. I dreamt that I wanted to go to Egypt. And no, actually, that was not a motorcycle. I'm sorry. But a similar idea. Like motorcycle up in the mountains. I get it. Amazing. But I had this dream when I was younger. And in a way, if it wasn't for my family, I'd be like, yeah, that would be a cool thing to do. That I would go to Egypt or somewhere in Africa, and I'd buy a camel, and I'd just work with my camel to go and move dates, kind of. I'd move between these Bedouins. If you've ever been in the desert, it's an amazing place to be in, especially at night. Also a really harsh place, of course. And then I just walk between different nomad centers and sell my dates. I seriously considered what would it take to actually do this when I was in my probably like early 20s or something. Never did it, but that would be a cool experience. Nicole Bray, YOLO Mats, you can do it. Yeah, I believe in you, Mats. You should definitely do it. And then tell us, like, stream from the way so we can see how you're doing. Mats, I really want to, but I want to get some more experience riding since I only got my license this year. Oh yeah, probably a good idea. And also, things like that tend to be pretty difficult to do, pretty harsh. So, like, yeah, be prepared for it. Nicole, I used to have a bike too. It needs some time to feel confident. Yeah, it does. But it is really fun when you start doing it. Okay, nice. Lots of nice memories. Thank you for bringing them up. I so rarely think about these things. And especially, like Nadia was saying, like my best experience. I haven't thought about that in years. But that was a really big thing. And you have to understand when that happened, it felt afterward like, wow, this was something really special. This is like, wow, like I'm close to enlightened now, kind of. And then after it's like, okay, yeah. Like that was a pretty extreme experience. But all in all, it was still kind of, it was kind of like trying to move a mountain by farting. It was just such a small thing. It was a start because there's wind going now, so we got something moving, right? And there's smell and all that stuff going on. But like in regards to actually moving the mountain, you moved some pebbles over. It was just, people don't realize how much there is to look at when you start looking at these distortions about this friction you have towards the world around you, and they think, oh, I've taken away this big thing and now I'm done, kind of. And like, yeah, just give it time, and I promise you there will be more. One day, hopefully, there is a point where there is no more, and it seems pretty clear that that's the thing, but that is a very, very, very long way to go, and it's better to have the idea that don't believe that you need to get there to enjoy being alive or enjoy your life, or that unless I have come there when everything is enlightened and I'm fulfilled, I have no more distortions and I'm non-centric the whole time. Unless I get there, then I'm not allowed to be happy. No, make sure you're enjoying your life until you get there. And the fact is, the more you enjoy being alive, the more you enjoy being here, meaning more present, not wanting to go somewhere else, the easier it will be to get there. Nadia, this sounds like a naive question. Go ahead. Is it possible to achieve enlightenment through meditation? Has anyone ever achieved this? Okay, so if you... First of all, what is enlightenment? And you don't need to write this. Well, you can if you want to, but what does it mean? There is a book that talks about this, and I think he lists 45 different explanations of enlightenment. And I think this is only in Buddhism. So there can be enlightenment meaning you have complete union with God. It can be enlightenment meaning that you just kind of get snuffed out and you just transcend to another level. There's enlightenment meaning that you get superpowers. There's enlightenment meaning that you're the kindest, most loving kindness person on the entire planet. There's all these different explanations of how wonderful and great it is to become enlightened, but what does it actually mean? Now that's the problem. If you're listening to me, then I'm trying to be very clear that it's just a matter of how you relate to the world. It's just a matter of this pressure that you have towards the world disappearing. And it's not something that goes from 0 to, oh, now it's done. It more seems to be that you gradually peel away things that you distort towards, or you have a feeling and are not allowed to see it as it is, and then you're more clearly able to, by actually allowing yourself to feel good in this moment, get closer to that point. So just by doing meditation, I think that would be very difficult, especially if you do just closed eyes, because you need to kind of, if you just do that, you'll just get very neutral most of the time, but actually enjoying, and as soon as you open your eyes, you're going to go, oh, I'm hit with this. So you have to kind of process and work with the distortions that you have. It's not, meditation is called bhavana, which means to train the mind in Buddhism, and you train your mind so that you can then go out and use your mind. And whether someone actually managed to do that just by meditation, I mean, I haven't actually met anyone or know of anyone who has been able to remove all of this, so I don't know. I mean, the thing that they say the Buddha was enlightened by sounds like, again, there's 45 different explanations of what he actually did, so I simply don't know. But as far as going all the way and completely being I call it liberated, because you're liberated from this pressure, from the idea that you are separate from everything else, then I think a lot of people get like way along the path. But since I simply don't know exactly what it would be like when you're there, I couldn't really tell, but no one's described it really in that way and shown that, okay, that's possible to get there yet. So I simply don't know, Nadia. But there's lots of people who say that they got enlightened just by meditating. But then you have to ask, what does that mean? Cool. Like I said, really nice. Thank you for asking. And it's absolutely not a naive question. I think that's a really good question. It's because you need to know what should I do, and also choosing a way of practicing that works for you. I think it's really important to take your practice seriously, but not too seriously, as in neglecting your worldly duties. Like the idea, and there's just like a big part of Buddhism also, like you still have a responsibility as a lay person to live in society. We can't just skip taking care of our children or stay home from work because I had a jhana happen this morning, so I'm blissed out, so I'm not going to come to work, or like whatever you want to come up with. Like, we still have to function in the world. And since there is such a long path to go, and if you believe you're there, very likely you are not. Just by like sheer probability. Like if you tell me like, okay, this lottery ticket means I win one, like the highest lottery ticket win. Like I can just by statistics say that no, very likely that's not the ticket. It can happen, but it's very, very unlikely. So for those of you who are new, we normally have a little chat like this before, and people can ask questions and thoughts. After that, we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a way to see the world without the self distorting the reality around you. And it's not that it would just happen like that. Sometimes it does, but it's a way of teaching you how to observe the world around you and really be engaged with the world around you. Not just say, okay, labels, I know what this is. After that, today's Thursday, so there's no guiding, but we sit together. You can do your own technique, whatever that may be. And then, well, if there's time, we'll have a short question and answer, or just a discussion. It doesn't really feel like it's questions and answers. It's more like a loose conversation where people talk, or most of the time I'm just having a monologue when I go on a rant or something. So for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, we list 5 things we can see, 4 things that we can feel, 3 things that we can hear, 2 things that we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And the whole idea is to learn how to see things around you without having a concept of what it is, or a feeling of, I know what this is, so I don't need to pay attention to it, because that's basically what happens. I have a thermos, and I know what this is. I know the value of it, I know where I got it from, I know the story behind it, I know where these stickers came from. All of that is known to me, so I feel like I know this object, and thus I don't really pay attention to it. I just say, oh, this is my thermos. If I look a little bit closer, my kids put these stickers on. They put them on so that I could separate it from my fiance's, who looks almost exactly the same. And I might even have a feeling towards it, and I say, oh, this is nice. But I don't really pay attention to it because I already know what it is. Now, we are not trying to become dumb or kind of cut away part of our like intelligence. I still understand what this is. I still understand that this is a thermos. I understand that the function is to keep the liquid inside of it warm. I understand that this is my thermos that belongs to me, and I can use this. And I understand that my kids put this here. They are stickers. I know what they are. But that doesn't mean that I cannot see this thermos as a child would. And if I would, then I would see that there's reflections here. I would see the curvature. I would see the colors. I would see the furriness on this butterfly, and I would see how this is a beautiful shape. And if I look at it, this is an enjoyable thing to look at. There's this thing here, which has a lot of, okay, when I do that, there's like this light and reflection here. There's something here, and there's a sense of curiosity. Even though I know what this button happens, when you really view it without a sense of self, but actually, and without feeling like you know what it is, it feels like this is the first time I have ever done that. And if a child would do this, they would go, whoa! Imagine an infant doing that. We're like, what the, whoa, did you see that? Look. That's insane. How is it doing that? And they would start looking and understand, like, I understand this, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, because people often talk about, oh, I have no concept of things. In other words, like pretend like it doesn't exist. No, it's the feeling. You need to learn to see things as if though you didn't know what they were, meaning with curiosity, with a sense of wonder. Like, think of a child. Think of how a child would watch this, and think of how they would see this thing, not how you'd see things around you. And think about how we do it with this, but how do you treat your partner? How do you treat your parents or your child? We tend to say, I know what this is, so I don't pay attention. Obviously, you cannot go every time you see a partner and go like, I'm going to look into your soul. That's a bit creepy. Some people are creepy like that. But what I mean is, and I say that because if you go to a spiritual event, there will be some people who, I don't know what the name is. Is it eye gazing, or it's not stargazing? And they look into your eyes and they hold you like this because they want to show how much they're able to look and not be uncomfortable by really weird behavior. And they look like this and they go, yes. Again, if you like doing that, by all means, but that's kind of taking it too far. It's trying to project an image of, oh, look how I'm really able to do this. Just be loose. Don't take it so seriously, and at the same time, take this very seriously. So, view it as if though you didn't know what it was. And we say it out loud. Now, I've spent so much time doing this, we'll do the others a bit quicker, but you understand what I'm saying. It's not about not having concept. It's not about becoming dumb. It's about seeing it as if though you didn't know what it was. I see a thermos. I see, and say whatever you see around you out aloud as well. I see a red box that is very greasy with grease on it. I see a beautiful what do you call that? Plant. I'm going to have some plant in the background. It looks really nice. Green is a beautiful color. I see a pair of keys lying on my desk. And I see a scarf. All of the time looking for the structure, the light, the way it curves, and like all the small things, becoming curious about the world around you. That was 5 things I could see. Next we take 4 things that I can feel. And I can feel there's an itch here in my eye. And it's kind of like dry there, I think. And then if I look at that itch, I can then look, okay, is there a distortion here? If you look at something uncomfortable, it goes, like it's almost a tension going up there. Oh, I need to go like that. So that's why in meditation we try to not move too much, because we want to observe that distortion. And it's not just about pushing down or like, I'm not going to move. It's not about not moving. It's about seeing that thing happening and saying like, hey, wait a minute, I am making myself uncomfortable. And also, I don't need to move upon this feeling of uncomfortableness. I can choose what to do. This doesn't control me. Just as when you feel anger towards someone, doesn't mean you need to yell and shout. I feel that, and I feel the softness of the blanket that I have on me. And at the same time, I also feel my leg being touched through the blanket. I feel the softness of my cup. And I can feel the liquid running down my throat. There was 4 things that I could feel. Next we take 3 things that we can hear. Same here, we're listening for details and nuances within the sounds. I can hear the Doppler effect of a car passing, how the sound sounds different when it's coming and when it's going away. It's an interesting phenomenon. Again, becoming curious and wondrous about what's happening around you. There's something that sounds like, I think it's the heat transfer pipes for the heater, kind of gurgling a little bit. It's a sound, I'm not sure where it comes from. It sounds like that. And I hear the fan of my computer. So those were 3 things that I could hear. Next we take 2 things that we can smell. I can smell washing detergent. And there's a smell of fabric, as in though old, like when it gets warm and there's heat on fabric. Almost a little bit old smelling. Next, there was 2 things that we can smell. Next we take 1 thing that we can taste. I taste kebab sauce. feel free to keep on sitting. If you have anything you want to share, any questions, you're welcome to ask or share. I actually wanted to share something. I talk quite often about how we compare ourselves to others in our meditation. And we look up and we see others sitting calmly. Obviously, you just see me. And we believe that, oh, their meditation is so much calmer than mine. It's so much better. I mean, my mind is running and it's just not wanting to stay still. And today, my mind was really running. Like I said, I've been preoccupied with some difficulties, and in the beginning I was able to stay with the breath and be aware of what's happening, looking at the distortions. And then towards the end, I probably sat 5 minutes, just rolled away in some thought process, fantasy, distortion, and I just completely wasn't aware. Normally not how it goes for me, but yeah, that happens to me also. So it's not that you should feel, oh my goodness, I'm a failure. I've been meditating a lot, and I mean I've been a professional meditator for several years when I was a monk, and I meditated all the time, and still to this day my mind runs off. So don't feel bad if you've been meditating for just a few thousand or a few hundred hours, or maybe even not even 100 hours, just like tens of hours, and you believe, oh, my mind is not doing what it should do. It's running off. Oh my goodness, I'm such a failure. My meditation doesn't work. One of the main differences in someone who's meditated a lot and someone who is a beginner is that the person who's experienced knows that it's okay to drift off. And they know that the best thing they can do is to just come back and start over again with no fuss, no self-blame, no worry, no feeling, oh, I failed. We just let that go and we come back again. That's one of the main differences. And it tends to happen less often, but it most certainly does happen. Hey Frozen, nice to see you. How do you work on distortions that aren't so tangible, like relationships with others, ourselves, or our finances, or need for more better things, or our environment? This is exactly what I've been dealing with the last few weeks here. So when you have something that's difficult and is not like directly, it's more easy when you're dealing with pain in meditation. Oh, I have pain here. I can clearly see the pain in my shoulder when the neck for me, when I'm meditating, and I look at that pain and how it goes down. This arm actually, the pain goes down and it comes to numbness and all this distortion. I can focus on that. That's easy. I can work with that. It's easy to observe, and eventually when you observe that and you keep turning towards joy, you're like, okay, well, that's a dumb thing to do, and you realize that it's a pretty silly thing to like keep on hurting yourself. If you feel strong anger towards someone, and in the moment, that's easy. But what happens after that moment passes and we go back into this kind of lull of not strong distortion, but it's just background noise, like general anxiety, is that it's much more difficult to focus on because it's not so obvious. Instead, the way that you'll feel it is that you go around tensed, there's stress in the body, and you might start tensing up like this, and the nervous system is feeling fight or flight the whole time, and this is how you create a burnout. If you do this too long and too intensely for a long period of time, it will eventually lead to burnout. Now, just like you say, and it's good you notice this, this is more difficult to observe than something tangible, short, and concise. And my best, like I've been thinking about this, or at least trying to find different ways of working with this better, because for me those are the main things that are left, these like small background things that come that are really deeply rooted, something that really is in the core, that is just stuck in there and doesn't want to come out. But it's not this strong, overpowering thing. It's just kind of humming along and just like uncomfortable all the time. And I can't just look at, okay, there it is. Or I just want to get rid of it, because it's almost like my spinal injury. It's not someone stabbed me in the back. It's this constant grinding pain that just never goes away. And it's not super intense, but it's always there in my hand, and I can't feel my fingers. And it's always kind of yeah, there, and it's very difficult to deal with. So you can do different things. One of the things is distract yourself. Like literally just do anything you can, not anything, but distract yourself. That can be watching a movie, it could be taking a walk. Cold showers are really nice. Cold and warm showers, like changing. Something physical, going out running, making love. Okay, just don't let it infect the lovemaking. But anything that distracts you from the thing so it's not over-empowering you. And then the good thing about it is that when you feel the relief and then you go back into that thing again and it's just there, like that, then you will see, oh, this is not a nice thing to experience. And it kind of needs to get to the point where you feel, oh, I don't want this. And instead start turning towards enjoying and really being, not just, I don't want to say just be here, but appreciating being here and feeling that this world is sorry to re-traumatize you. Oh no, absolutely no problem. This is good. This is really good because it's something I'm working with myself to really see that it is a choice. And again, like I said before, when I said, oh, I also have a mind that's running now. It's the same thing with this for me. This is not easy for me either. I've taken away most of the stuff that I'm distorting to, especially the big things. But there's these things that just are so low level that most people probably wouldn't even think about them. And in a way, they hurt me more than they would have before, because now I'm aware of them. Before, I would have just walked around feeling like, someone says something, you just kind of let that come out because you're feeling bad. And a lot of people go around like this all the time, and they think, yeah, it's just how the world is. Like, I'm just a bit like this, and they don't realize it. But when you start realizing this, the problem is, of course, then you have to make a choice. Should you continue behaving like, should you continue experiencing the world like this, or would you actually want to do something about it? So first off, if it gets too much, try to distract yourself. Secondly is to try to just enjoy being here. And the way you can do that is like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. We focus on our experience of reality, like really looking when you're looking, really becoming engrossed with like, oh, what does this look like? What does it feel like? And enjoying what you're doing. And you will see what happens, especially if it's something that you're worrying about that's kind of in the background, is that you will get to a point where it feels like, oh yeah, I can actually turn and just be with this. But then I'm not thinking about this thing. Then I'm not distorting about this thing. Then I'm not trying to solve this thing. Then I'm not trying to be engaged with this situation. Instead, I'm here. No, I can't do it. This is so important. I have to. So you go back and you feel bad a little bit, and you distort and you like, and then you go, okay, well, this is dumb. Oh, look at this. This is actually really interesting. It's nice being here. And you go, what if I don't feel bad about that? Does that mean, you said economy or relationship? What if I ruin my relationship? Because obviously my relationship is going to get better if I feel really bad about it. If I feel lots of anxiety about it, that's going to make the relationship better. Same with your anxiety. If I go around with this constant uncomfortable feeling that is making me sick, that is absolutely, definitely going to help your economy. And it's definitely not going to help your relationship. Trust me. What else? Better things. Yeah, something you want different in your environment. Really, the problem is that the solution is so simple. No, it's so uncomplicated that it's just really difficult to implement, because you will keep having this kind of, I'm just here experiencing this cup and just how nice it is, but this is important. I am important. My feelings towards this is important. I need to get back to this. I can't just enjoy now, because don't you know how bad my economy is? Don't you know how bad my relationship is? Don't you know how much I want that new car, girlfriend, TV, whatever it is you want? So, yeah, I would say that is the most difficult thing in many ways to work with. Those are the it's much, much easier when people talk about this strong trauma or this like difficult thing that they have, or phobia or fear or something, because those are clear cut. I can feel this. I can feel this distortion or pain or feeling, whatever you want to. But what you're talking about, that is a little bit a bit more advanced. Did that help, or did I? I'm not even sure I shared anything, because like I said, I am working with this now myself. And I think the main difference, if I would like one of the main things that you can do right away is to learn to not throw the shit on people around you. Meaning that what people tend to do when they're feeling this uncomfortable feelings, I feel bad, so I'm going to throw it out at everyone around me. Because I'm in a bad mood, I'm just going to spit it out, and then everyone will feel bad. Which is obviously a really bad thing to do for you and for the people around you. So that's also a thing to keep in mind, that realizing that it's not their fault that you are experiencing the reality the way you are, or that you're feeling the way you are. It's just what you're distorting right now, and you really do have a choice. It might not seem like it, and it might be impossible in many ways to do right now, but it is ultimately up to you to choose how to distort. Frozen, I guess just let it be and realize we are not all encompassed by it. We can focus elsewhere. Yeah, not just focus as in distract. I mean, distraction is a coping mechanism. That is not a long-term solution. That is something you do when you're overpowered and you feel too bad, and just let it be. Like, there is no reason to just go in there and just like get too stuck in it and start feeling bad. But ultimately, you need to learn to observe it, because it's the same there. It's we're not really allowing yourself to feel this. And when I say feel, I don't mean go into it and just, ooh. In Swedish, say gotta in sig, really like getting in there. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to have an open space and just feel what does it feel like to feel this fear of I'm going to go broke. Feel this fear, oh, my relationship is going to end because I'm not taking care of it. Or this feel of I'm never going to get that TV or whatever it was. And really feel what is there, and like, oh, well, I can just let this go. And many times when you do, you'll say, okay, wait, my real fear here is actually that I won't have a TV, if it's a TV that you want. And then you can say, well, the main fear is that I won't have a TV because I want to watch, or you want to watch Monday and Thursday guided meditations with Martin. I mean, I understand that's difficult for you. Obviously, that would cause me a lot of anxiety as well, but you don't need a $20,000 or $2,000 TV, like ultra wide screen, 85 inches to do that. You can just get a smaller TV, or you could watch it on your phone, and then the feeling, oh, wait a minute, like, yeah, why am I catastrophizing? Why am I making this up to be much bigger than it is? So there are many ways of angles that you can work with this and look at it. Good question, Frozen. That is it's difficult to answer in 5 minutes, especially since this is something that, I mean, it just takes time. It just takes time, and we can't, when we have the situation around us still reminding us about this, it's all about how do you handle it in between. You have to stay present and experience the world around you, and then when the situation comes up, okay, now I need to deal with this, you need to be able to actually go in there and do whatever it is you need to do. We're not trying to escape from it or like just pretend it's not happening. Thank you, Mats. Nice to have you here again. I hope that helped, Frozen, and yeah, please let me know how it goes, and feel free to bring it up again. We can look a bit more into it. I hope everyone had a good evening, and I'm hoping that you'll have an even better weekend. I will see you all on Monday. Thank you so much for coming today. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it.